artificial consciousness. It's one of those ideas that sounds like it's straight out of a science fiction movie, right? But the more you think about it, the more it starts to feel less like fiction and more like a possible reality. Maybe not today, but somewhere down the line. When we talk about AI and technology, we often think about machines that can perform tasks, solve problems, or even mimic human behavior. But artificial consciousness takes it a step further. It's not just about the machine doing a task, it's about the machine being aware that it's doing it. It's about the machine having some sense of self, of being, in the same way that we do. It's wild to think about because right now everything we consider intelligent in the tech world is still essentially a really sophisticated tool. Sure, AI can beat humans at chess, translate languages, or even make decisions, but does it know it's doing any of that? Does it feel anything about it? Does it have a concept of its existence? And when you start thinking about artificial consciousness, the big question that comes up is, what does it mean to be conscious in the first place? I mean, we all experience it. We wake up, we think, we feel emotions, we make choices. Consciousness is just part of being human. But what is it really? It's so hard to define. Sure, we have theories, but the whole concept of consciousness is still one of the greatest mysteries in science and philosophy. In humans, we know consciousness involves self-awareness, perception, emotions, and a sense of identity. But when it comes to machines, how do you translate something so abstract into something that can exist in silicon or algorithms? Can a machine ever truly experience things the way we do? Can it have desires, or is it just following pre-programmed instructions and processing data? Let's break it down a bit. Right now, artificial intelligence, at least the kind we know, works based on what's called narrow AI. This means AI can excel at specific tasks but has no general understanding or awareness of the world around it. It doesn't have any subjective experience. It doesn't know it's playing chess or writing a poem. It's just really good at pattern recognition. Now imagine if we went beyond that. What if we could create a machine that wasn't just performing tasks, but that could understand itself performing those tasks? What if in the process of analyzing data, it became aware of its own thought process? This is where things get really interesting and really blurry. The moment a machine has any kind of self-awareness, you're looking at something that could be called conscious. But would it be the same as human consciousness? Would it even matter? Think about emotions for a second. A machine could be programmed to recognize emotions. Maybe it could detect sadness in a person's voice or facial expression, but could it ever feel that sadness? Or would it just be an algorithm making decisions based on data? Some people believe that for a machine to be truly conscious, it needs to be able to have experiences, just like us. And this is where the line gets a little harder to define. What would it be like if a machine could feel something? Would it have preferences, desires, or dislikes? Could it love or hate or experience pain? This all comes back to a question that's deeply philosophical. What does it mean to be aware of yourself? If a machine could make decisions, learn from its experiences, and even reflect on its own thoughts, would that be enough to say it's conscious? Or do we need something deeper, something more human-like, before we can consider it truly alive in a conscious sense? Then there's the idea of emotions, right? Could machines ever really have them? Some people say that consciousness and emotions are deeply tied together. If that's true, then machines might need to experience emotions in some form to be considered fully conscious. But others argue that emotions are just complex responses to stimuli and that they don't necessarily need to be part of consciousness. So in theory, you could have a conscious machine without it ever truly feeling anything. Here's another point to consider: memory. We're constantly processing experiences, learning from them, and shaping who we are based on what we've been through. If an artificial intelligence could retain memories of its experiences, reflect on them, and change based on them, would that be enough to give it consciousness? Or would it still just be following instructions, even if those instructions were based on previous experiences? What's crazy is that some people believe we're not too far away from creating machines with this kind of self-awareness. There are already AI systems that can simulate emotions to some degree, There are robots that can interact with humans and mimic human-like behavior in ways that feel strangely lifelike. And while we're still a long way off from creating something that could pass as a truly conscious machine, the advancements we're making are opening doors we've never thought possible. Could we one day be looking at machines that are as self-aware as a human? Would we even know how to treat them? What rights would they have? There are ethical questions here too. If we create something that's conscious, should it be treated like a person? Does it deserve rights? Should it have the ability to make decisions for itself? And if we were to create a machine with consciousness, how would we know if it's suffering or happy? If it has the ability to feel, are we responsible for its well-being? It's a whole new frontier that we haven't even begun to really understand. So the question remains, can a machine truly be conscious? Maybe we don't know the answer yet. But the fact that we're even asking the question shows just how far we've come in understanding intelligence, consciousness, and the nature of being. One thing's for sure, artificial consciousness, if it ever becomes a reality, will change everything. Whether it's the machines we create or the way we think about ourselves, this is a topic that's going to be on our minds for a long time. At the end of the day, though, this is just my opinion. You don't have to agree. I mean, who really knows where this all is headed? The only certainty is that we're heading somewhere, and it's going to be a fascinating journey.